Shalom. Welcome. Today we will be continuing our study in the prophets, specifically the book of First Kings, chapter 13. We'll be starting with verse 14 as we work our way with this directed Hebrew immersion in this book. Avinu Malkeinu ken yhi ratzon ki tihyeh imanu achshav Adonai. אנחנו רוצים ללמוד טוב את דבריך הקודשים. כן יהי רצון כי כל יהיה טוב בעיניך, כל לקח שלנו. לא לנו ולך יהיה כל הכבוד. All right, so let's get started. We are starting with verse 14. And let me just get my laser pointer going. Hopefully it will look okay. Vayelech acharei ish ha'Elohim. So we have a long construct chain here. I want to mark that first, and then we'll come back and deal with the verb. Acharei ish ha'Elohim. That's all one big chain. And for our verb, yelech. Yelech. So this is from the verb halach. Okay. That's kind of hard to see. Maybe I'll do white. Let's do white. I think that'll be a good color. Hey. Lamed. Kaf. Halach. To go or to walk. And that initial hey has gone away. It doesn't usually disappear on verbs that start with hey, but it does with this one. So we're left just with the lamed and the kaf. The yod is telling you who's doing the action. That prefixed yod, that is saying he. He. So yelich is an imperfect form, which means he is walking. Yelech. Yelech. He is walking, or he is going, or he will walk, he will go. The vav here, with the patach and the dagesh and the yod, this is a vav conversive. It is going to change the aspect. Okay, so that's like a time change. So you could think of it like that. It's a time change. So the see-through vav, that's and yelich. Instead of he will go, he went. Who went? Or what's the forget about who went, but we already know who went, but what's it gonna say? Acharei, after ish ha Elohim. Ha Elohim. Ha is the so that's the and because it's the last word in the construct chain, it will impart that the to the rest of the chain. And we'll only translate in English where it makes sense. So the first word doesn't really make a lot of sense. We wouldn't say the after. So after the ish, man of the God. So to smooth it out in English, we'll just say after the man of God. Vayelech acharei ish ha Elohim. And he went after the man of God. And let's write of in there as well. In the construct chain, you try to put of between each word. Now, it doesn't make sense here after of the man, so we won't do it there. Any comments or questions? How you guys doing? Everything okay? I'm just going to get a quick drink of water. If you're in the live premiere, please ask your question, make your comment. Or if you're watching it later, you can do that in the comment section down below. All right, let's continue. Vayimtsaehu, or if we read it with our tones, Vayimtsaehu. Vayimtsaehu. So the verb is matzah. Matzah. Mem Sadi Aleph. Matzah is to find, or we learn from the Ugaritic cognate, it can also mean to overtake. Overtake, like to catch up with someone. And that's probably so when the Bible says, my sins have found me, they've matzauni, we could also say have overtaken me. The yod at the front, it serves the same function as the yod over here did. He. He. And then the who at the end is our pronominal suffix, meaning he. He. But to make it sound right in English, we have to say him. So, yeah, yeah, he, metzah, it's from matzah, found or overtook who? Him. Now, without the vav, this actually means he is finding him or he will find him. He is overtaking him or he will overtake him. It's what we call an imperfect form of the verb, and I'll just mark that for those of you who care about those things. That this part it's the imperfect form of the verb. I'm not sure if the orange is going to show. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it. You'll see it sometimes. Imperfect. But then when we have the vav consecutive here, I'm going to outline this vav with see-through. Let the cool outer space psychedelic colors shine through. That guy changes the aspect. So now instead of imperfect, it actually becomes perfect. So when we include the vav, it's perfect. Perfect. So when something is imperfect, what that means is that the verb is expressing an incompleted action, something that's not finished yet. That's why in English we would translate it as a present ongoing or as a future. Usually, not always, you can have imperfect past actions as well. Trying to make that a little easier for you to see. Okay, that's imperfect. But when it's perfect, like we have here, the idea is that the action is complete, it's sealed. So this could either be a past event in an English speaker's mind, or it could be a future event which is sealed. It's prophetic perfect is how some grammars call it. When a prophet speaks and it sounds like it's in the past tense, if you're reading your King James Bible or some other English version which tries very hard to be close to the Hebrew. This is even why I think this is why in English, when someone's talking in the past tense, Israel has been laid waste and lo aleinu, or something like this, people understand it might be a prophecy because the translators of the King James are trying to be very true to the Hebrew, right? Trying to sound like the Hebrew. It's kind of funny. In fact, this is one of the areas where some counter missionaries who don't know so much, they'll try to mess with people in the Hebrew. For example, I had one guy trying to tell me who was duped by counter missionaries. He's telling me, oh, that prophecy can't be about the virgin birth because it says she already got pregnant. It's the perfect, or it's the past tense, he said. And I knew that this guy had gone to Israel and he did a little bit of Ulpan, which is just kind of an immersion modern Hebrew program. And I told him, you're looking at it like it's modern Hebrew. Everybody knows, including the sages, that this is a prophecy. It's prophetical perfect. Time doesn't work in biblical Hebrew the same way it works in modern Hebrew. So don't let anybody dupe you. Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes. Perfect has a lot more functions than just the past tense. We can even have the prophetical, and we can even have a precative perfect, where it's like a command, like a soft command, like may it be that you do this thing for me, right? So that's not past or future. Really, it's a soft imperative, usually used in poetic or very older Hebrew style. So anyway, you don't have to know about all that. That's just there for those who are interested. Okay. So va changes it. It changes the imperfect and makes it into perfect. Okay. Changes it. So instead of yimsaehu, he will find him or he will overtake him, it's va yimsa, pardon me, va yimsaehu. And he found him, and he overtook him. He caught up with him. Yoshev, from the verb yashav. Many of you know that. Yashav is yashav means he sat or he dwelled. Yoshev is an active participle, so it's describing the who here. So it's from a verb, and it seems like if you study modern Hebrew, it sounds like it's present tense. There's no time implied here. It's more like a verbal adjective. So the who is actually, this is our noun. That's our noun. And then the adjective, it's like an adjective the way it's functioning, is this active participle. So Vayimtsaehu, and he found him, Yoshev, a sitting one, is really what it sounds like to the Hebrew ear. Right? And he found him, Or he found him a sitting, something like that. And he found him a sitting, like some silly song. Now make it make sense in English. And he found him sitting tachat, underneath ha'elah. Ha is the. Everybody understands what that is? What's going on there? The elah. Elah. There are different translations for elah. The kind of old traditional translation is terebinth or mighty oak. The, the fact that it says ha'elah means this was generally recognized as a landmark somewhere, probably a very old tree, centuries old. There are different traditions about it, but let's just leave it at that. Under the oak, under the mighty terebinth, ha'elah. Vayomer. So I'm not going to mark this one up, but it's the same pattern. It's really the same pattern as what we have over here. Where that black was a bad idea. Over here. Vayomer. Yomer is Yomer. He will say, or he is saying, Vayomer, and he said, alive unto him. Unto a, and I'm just going to say he here. He unto he. And you got to make that sound right yourself. Unto him. Ha'ata ish ha'Elohim. Actually, there's more to his question, but we'll stop there. So what we have here with this first hey, that is not the definite article hey. This is actually the hey interrogative. Está una pregunta. It's like the upside down question mark in Espanol. Sometimes you have that before the end of the sentence, like at the beginning, you have a upside down question mark. Any of you studied Spanish? I've only got high school Spanish, so I'm limited, but that's what it means. Ha. So are or is, ata. Ata, we know what that is. That's you. Are you? Ish ha Elohim, construct chain. So it's not just Elohim, it's ha Elohim. Now you will find out in the Hebrew Bible that there are times where you'll have a construct chain and the last word will just be Elohim. But because we understand we're talking about the God, like the one who really exists, the one true God, as in the one creator, that you don't need the ha to make it definite. So it just depends on the prophet who's writing, his writing style. So the will be transferred. Copied rather, to the front of the construct chain. So ha ata are you, and then the ha is going to be transferred. The ish man of the God, and just make it sound better in English. There's our of. Are you the man of God? Okay, and then he's going to clarify and give us some more info. By the way, this is in 4K UHD. So hopefully, if you're in the Premiere, I never know. Sometimes it takes so many hours for YouTube to process the 4K, so you might not be able to see it on your high-res device. But if you watch it later, if you're watching later, you can click the gear and go to a higher resolution if you want. Everything will be crisper. So asher, this is the relative pronoun. Asher can mean who, which, sometimes when, sometimes even why or where, but usually it's who or which. Who, are you the man of God who bato, bato, bata. So the verb is ba. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Hallelujah. Right? So that ta, reminding us of the tav in ata. Quite a delay. Okay. So ba is to come or to arrive. Ba to. Ba came or arrived. Ta you from ata. So Ish Elohim Asher Bata, whom, and then it says you came, just the way Hebrew sounds. Mi Huda. So me, we know me. This is min. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Okay, so that we usually know that guy is min, from, not frum. Who knows what frum means in Yiddish? I'll give you a second to answer for those of you in the premiere. Instead of from, frum means religious, like Orthodox. Are you observant? Observant Jew. Are you frum? From Yehuda. So it's Judah. Okay. So what did he say? Ha'ata, are you Ish Ha'Elohim, the man of God, Asher, who, Bata, you, Bad, you came, Me, from Yehuda, Judah? Now we're going to get the answer. Vayomer, Ani. Yomer, that's going to be he will say, or he is saying, right? That's our he. He. Same as up over here in the middle. Mhm. And then that vav, the vav conversive, changes the aspect. I know it's not a neon today, it's see-through today, but it just has to do with my special effects. So instead of Yomer, he will say, Vayomer is and he said. And you will see this all over the Tanakh, all over the Hebrew Bible. And it even bleeds through a lot when you start to if you start to study Jewish Greek, the so-called Koine Greek of the apostolic writings, the New Testament. So many sentences will say this in the Greek, and he said, or and they said, or et cetera, et cetera, just following the biblical Hebrew model. It's really pretty cool. And he said, Ani, or in here, in this case, it's Ani, because it has the saluk here, strengthening the accent. So usually this word is spelled like this. Hold on. The word for I, he's saying I am, but you don't have to say am in biblical Hebrew. Here's the way we usually spell it. And you can see that the chat of patach lengthened to a full comets there because of the saluk, that little vertical accent mark. So we'd usually say ani, but he says ani, I am. Ani, I am. Any comments or questions? How are you guys doing? Well, this is a pretty beefy verse. Maybe that's good for today. Oh, maybe we'll do one more. We'll squeeze in one more. The next one I think is not too long. Not too long. Okay, so we can make sure we have some nice progress. Maybe I'll just read through it one more time, zoomed in for those of you on small devices. Zoomed, I said. There we go. Okay. Vayelech. So he went. Acharei ish ha'elohim. After the ish, the man of ha'elohim, the God. Vayimtsaehu, or vayimtsaehu. And it's going to be perfect now because the vav, he found or overtook, he caught up with him. Yoshev, sitting, tachat. This is where we get the word tuchas from, under ha'elah, the terebinth, the mighty tree. Vayomer, and he said, alive unto him. Ha'ata ish ha'elohim asher bata mihuda. Ha'ata, are you the ish, the man, it's construct, so of ha'elohim, of the God, asher, who, bata, came you, me, from Huda, so it's me Huda, we read it. Vayomer, and he said, Ani, instead of Ani, Ani. I, and then you have to supply the verb, am, I am. All right, let's take a look at the next verse, changing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice small verse. Not a very fancy transition. I'll have to fix that next time. So verse 15, let's zoom in. I may not mark this one all the way up. It says, Vayomer, and he said, alive unto him, lech, iti. Yeah, let's mark it. So he said, that one I won't mark up. It's just so common. Alive unto him. That's he, unto he, lech. So lech is another example of the verb halach. There's a missing hey, a fugitive hey, halach. But this is the imperative form, a command. So it's a command, an imperative, an imp, if you will. Lech is a command. Go! We have a Torah portion named after this. Lech lecha. Lech lecha. Go for yourself. When God speaks to Abraham after he divorced the nations and he's starting a new nation, which we all are supposed to join. The politia Israel, as it says in the Jewish Greek, the political situation, the commonwealth, the people of Israel. E-T, with me. With is it. E. E is me. Let's do it this way so it's clear. Lech, come, or walk. E-T, with me. Walk this way. Walk this way. No, it doesn't say that. Okay. Habayata. Habayata. So let's be literal. Ha. That's the. And this one's following the perfect pattern of the ancient word for the, hal, with the lamed assimilated into the bait. That's why we have that. There's a lamed hiding in there. Hiding inside. Beita. Habaita. Or pardon me, habaita. Usually it's beta, but here it's baita because it's in pause. I wasn't looking at it. I'm looking to change colors while I'm talking. Usually it would say habaita, but here it's, pardon me, habeta, but here it's habaita. Habayit is the house, and then the at the end is known as the hey locative, or the directional hey. Direction towards the house. So, lech iti, come with me. Lech iti, with me. Habayita, towards the house. He's not saying like just about the directions, just this is usually how Hebrew goes. And here we're getting, if you remember earlier in First Kings, I was mentioning that when Solomon was speaking, he would leave off these directional heys, right? So it seemed to be his speech style that was captured exactly in the text. And now we have this guy speaking, and he's using it. So it's very, very nice. It's something you would totally miss in a translation. It doesn't like help your theology or anything, but still you can see there's something. The Bible is capturing different people's speaking styles. Isn't that awesome? The way that they speak is captured. Sometimes people speak really weirdly, and you can tell they're not native Hebrew speakers and they're speaking in Hebrew, right? And it captures that. You'll see they slip an Aramaic word in there, or they say something weird, or a very rare Hebrew word that happens to be a cognate with Aramaic or with some other language. It amazes me. This is one of the things that I've discovered myself through reading the text and loving the text. I haven't ever heard anybody comment about. And I think it's a kind of a shame because it's part of the beauty of our tradition. Our textual tradition has captured the speech patterns of different people. And it feels like they're getting quoted. When you read it, when you read the narratives, the historical narratives about what happens, and it says this person said that, you can feel it's a different person talking. That's the care that our sophrim, our scribes, took to copy the words faithfully, what were said. So I just love it. So habayitza, towards the house, ve'echol, ve'echol, and echol. So echol, who recognizes this root? What it means? Who recognizes echol? Echol. You probably remember ochla. Ochla or ochel. Also ochelet. These are all words that mean food. Achal is to eat. Echol is an imperative form. Like he just used an imperative earlier. He said life. Right here. Life, he had imperative, and now we have another imperative. Echol. Eat. And then the vav is just an and eat. Lachem. What is lachem? Well, lachem is usually lechem. I know you know this word. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. It's usually lechem. Here, it's changed to lachem because of our siluk. That final accent is a very strong ta'am. Ve'chol, and eat lachem, or eat lechem, eat bread. Let's have some bread. Let's eat some food. So one more time through this one, and then we'll be done. Vayomer alive. And vayomer alive unto him. He said unto him, Lech, go, iti, with me. Ha bayata, to the house. Vechol. By the way, you will notice sometimes, see the habaita? Habait, sometimes some biblical Hebrew speakers, instead of saying like my house, right, like beiti, they'll just say habayit. The ha sometimes can be a bit loose and function like a pronominal suffix. You don't have to know this, but for those of you who are more advanced, you might like to know that sometimes the definite article will take the place of the pronominal suffix, so it's okay in your translation to translate to my house. That's clearly what he's saying. Okay. Although some might think he's saying to the false temple, the house of the false god. That would be more of a deeper discussion. Ve'echol, and eat lachem. Eat lachem. Eat food. Eat some bread. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed. If you appreciate the work that we do here, please, please, please consider supporting what we do. You can become a patron of mine over at patreon.com/Hebrew literacy. Or there are other ways. If you check the description in the video, how to give if you'd like to give and support what we do. This is how we eat. This keeps the electricity on, and it's very much appreciative. This is a ministry service that we're doing, so nobody's getting rich with this. Okay, okay. So I really, really appreciate what you guys do. We, just to tell you, um, that's fine. I won't get into it. And if you can't give, then please consider praying for us, praying that we can reach more people, that this ministry will have an effect, that it will be significant in people's lives. I truly believe if everyone who believed in the God of Israel, that's Jews and Christians, Mormons, um, Jehovah's Witnesses, Roman Catholics, Eastern Orthodox, anyone who believes in the God of Israel, if they would just learn biblical Hebrew, it would wipe away so much of the dross that various denominations or even cults put into the teaching. Right? It really would. Not to mention the value and the joy and the beauty that the text has to offer without reading someone else's translation. And I'll just leave you with the quote I've shared many times before from the late Rabbi and physicist, Rabbi Dr. Arya Kaplan. He said, all translation is commentary. And what that means is anytime you read a translation, you are reading someone else's commentary. You're reading their worldview, their biases with or against the text. So thank you all. Hope you had a great evening. Have a great morning, whatever the case may be, and a wonderful rest of the day or evening ahead. I will see you tomorrow. Can't wait for it when we get into Koheleth, the book of Ecclesiastes. Shalom, shalom.